Welcome to you, my name's Dayle and this is Dayle's Addiction, and this is going to be just a little update on my situation. I feel like I could start to make a couple of videos because I'm going stir crazy here. And so yeah, if you are a returning subscriber, you obviously know what's happened, and if you're new here, you probably won't be interested in knowing what's happened, but I fractured my shoulder and I've just had surgery and I've been off YouTube for a little bit. So I just wanted to provide an update for all the lovely people who have been sending me DMs on Instagram, and yeah, it's overwhelming, the amount of inquiry. I thought I'll try and make a YouTube video with a little update, and then I'll try and make an actual YouTube video. So thanks for joining, and consider subscribing if you are new, because typically I'm talking about luxury handbags and I wear and style them and post pictures on Instagram. So yeah, jump on my Instagram at Dayles_addiction if you want to follow along. So last video I did was several weeks ago now, and in that video I told you how I had, in quite an ordinary way, you know, damaged my shoulder, and I put a picture on that. I will link that video below. There's also an MS unboxing on that video, so if you're interested, check that out. And that was just before my appointment with the surgeon. So I would say that video came out maybe on a Sunday, and I had the appointment with the surgeon the following Wednesday, which would have been around the 5th of Feb. So when I met with the surgeon, it was a Wednesday, and he basically said blah 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 mush, blah 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 suture and anchor and drill, and blah 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 3 to 4 months off work. Sorry, 3 to 4 months not driving, at least 6 weeks off work, blah 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 blah. So that's pretty much what I heard. Surgery on the 10th. And so leaving that appointment, I was kind of focused on the 6 weeks off work, the 3 to 4 months no driving, and anchoring tissue to bone by drilling. And my concerns were not so much about the surgery. I'm one of those weird people who goes and starts Googling the surgery and what's going to happen. And Mr. Addiction's had enough broken bones and surgeries that you know, kind of across how orthopedics works. It's like the carpentry shop of the surgical world. Very clever people, very physical kind of surgery, and sometimes the less you know the better. But unlike most normal people, I kind of looked into it and went, okay, cool, I'm fine with the surgery. And a lot of people were anxious for me about the surgery. I think the surgery is the thing that I know I can't really do anything about, so I have to kind of relinquish any perceived control over that process. I was more concerned about the idleness, the idle body, idle mind, and all of the things. You just don't realise how many things you are managing across different aspects of your life until they all have to go on hold. It's not like going on a holiday where you put work on hold, you make arrangements for your home, and then you focus on a holiday. You cannot really focus on anything, and that's the bit that I was most, I guess, anxious about. So fast forward to the weekend following meeting the surgeon. That is when Meredith and Mr. Lux came up and we went for lunch with Connor. They came over here for a few drinks. That was a nice to see them, and a nice distraction for what was to come the following Monday. And if you haven't seen Meredith's vlog, I'll link it in the description box below. And then Monday came, and my admission time for the hospital wasn't until around 1:45 p.m. So I had to stop eating at 8:45, which was a bit funny because I'm not really a breakfast eater, but for some reason when someone tells you you can't eat, you want to eat. So I got up and made myself some breakfast that day and a coffee, and could just sip water up until the admission time. And I chose to go with a private hospital, and that meant that with my private health cover I could get my own room. As far as I knew, I was only going to be in hospital for one night, and it's not as rush, you know. It's a lot of people having elective kind of surgery, and so it feels a little more calm and controlled, which I, you know, kind of appreciate. So I think I was collected by the anesthesia nurse after I was admitted, changed into my lovely outfit of compression stockings, some grippy socks. So, you know, when you're walking around a hospital, you're at risk of, you know, slips and trips and things like that. So they put these little Pilates socks on you, my gown and a dressing gown. And I kind of sat there, I think maybe for like an hour and a half before the anesthesia nurse came to see me. And I think I was the last surgery for the day. And then I went into what's called pre-op, which is basically they pop you on a bed, they start getting you prepared for your surgery. So hairnet, talking to you about what you're getting done, what the rough time frames of things are. I was right outside the theatre, and the curtains kept opening and closing, and different staff would come and check in on me and make kind of, you know, funny jokes, dry jokes and whatever, which was kind of good for me. You know, kind of takes your mind off things. I think they're very well versed at, you know, don't ask people how they're feeling because they're probably going to say a little bit anxious. And then at one stage they just left the curtain open, and I peered across to these storage racks and saw all of these boxes and boxes and boxes of, I assume, equipment, tools, supplies that had my name against them. And I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty full on. And then I glanced across to my left, and there was like a basket that had the list of patients and what was being done. And I took a photo of that too. And I'm going to attempt to tell you what the procedure was that I had done. It is a left shoulder arthroscopy, glenoid open reduction, internal fixation and stabilization, removal of loose bodies and cuff repair. And then there's all of these equipment pieces that are named, which are called Arthrex shoulder slab and Lata jet kit, 2.5 to 3 headless and headed compression screws, lateral traction tower, depoy pump shavers and tripolar. Anyway, I'm reading all this stuff and go, oh, this is getting a bit real now. They finished the surgery before me, and the anesthesiologist came to see me, and he was quite funny. He started to put the tourniquet on my left arm, which is my damaged shoulder, which, you know, I'm wearing in a sling. And and I said, are you a bit of a joker, are you? And he goes, ha ha ha. And he came around to my right hand side and he put the tourniquet on, and he started preparing to put in the catheter, which I still, you can see the bruise there, and I've still got the hole. And this is, you know, a week and a bit later. But he was gentle. It wasn't anything to do with him. And he starts reeling off all of the risks associated with anesthesia. And at one point he said, there's a chance that I could put bodies from your stomach into your lungs and you could get an infection and you could die. And I just started howling laughing. I mean, I'm weird, I know, but I just started laughing. And he looked at me and I said, "You are so funny." And he said, "I'm obliged to tell you this shit." So, and I didn't take that as being unprofessional. I took that as human to human. Everyone's doing their jobs. And that little point of connection actually gave me a bit of comfort, which, you know, oddly, but it gave me comfort. What didn't give me comfort was when they opened up the theatre and said, "Oh, you can walk into the theatre." Everyone was wearing gumboots. And I'm like, "Oh, God, I thought you guys wore Crocs." Like, the gumboots makes it, like, seem a little bit more messy. Anyway, next thing I know, I'm breathing in oxygen, and then I'm waking up in recovery trying to pull out these, you know, pipes out of my throat. And I can hear the doctor talking to me, but I'm not opening my eyes because it's so, so bright. I hear him call Mr. Addiction, and then the next thing I know, I'm in my room asking for my phone. So I think I got back to my room about 8 o'clock. They offered me some dinner. I said, "Yes, please, I'm starving." And she said, "The good news is we've got your lovely dinner." It was steak and vegetables. The bad news is it was steak and vegetables, not cut up. But the nurse just left it on my table and off she went. So I looked at my phone and Mr. Addiction had said, "I've spoken to the doctor. He's happy with how it went. He suggested that there's no point coming to see you tonight because you'll be really tired. So I'll catch you in the morning." I'm like, "No, you need to come and see me tonight." And bring me some KFC chips. They've given me a steak. I can't eat it. I'm starving. So he came to see me. He bought me some soda streams. Thank God, I love sparkling water. So that was just something nice and refreshing. And he bought me those KFC chips, and he bought me popcorn chicken. I don't know if you have it all over the world, but it's like little bits of fried chicken. I had about 3 bits, and I just felt instantly ill. And so I was, you know, let's just say I didn't stay down for long. And that kind of pattern repeated itself a few times, and I got really hot and really uncomfortable. So I just stopped trying to eat. And later on we discovered that that's potentially my reaction to the anesthesia. Makes some people really hot. And also the intravenous endone that I was on. So the nausea was just shocking all through the night. So I got some sleep, but obviously you're getting woken up for observation and things like that. But it was pretty comfortable, I've got to say. Staff really responsive, really happy with that. Still feeling off. In the morning, still feeling off. And eventually they worked out that if they removed the intravenous painkiller and just gave me oral meds and some anti-nausea medication, that I would be probably more comfortable, and that certainly was the case. So they kept me in until late afternoon. Normally you would check out about 10 o'clock, but they wanted to give me some more antibiotics and observe me for a longer period of time. I was able to have some lunch and keep it down, which was good. And then I came home, and so that whole kind of experience, it was pretty pleasant, I have to say, you know, for my first kind of overnight hospital surgical experience. So that, you know, it's nice to feel like you're in good hands when you're feeling vulnerable. I think it all kind of came to, let's call it a pretty... The reality set in when I went to my post-operative physio appointment the Friday following the surgery. So the surgery was Monday, stayed in hospital Monday night, left late Tuesday afternoon. On Friday, I went to the physio, and I didn't know what the appointment was about. I thought, what can I possibly be doing this early in the piece? And I was also like just a little bit cynical about the timeframes I'd been given in terms of the time off work, given that my work is primarily management, and the time not driving, and was that just some kind of standard recipe for these types of injuries, not taking into account the type of work that I do, all that jazz. Anyway, the physio, she was amazing. I just said, I'm struggling to comprehend the level of pain I have, which at the time wasn't really bad, and the time off that I've been given, I don't know much about the complexity of this surgery. And she said, look, this is not something that we deal with all the time. This is going to be like repairing a cracked eggshell, in the fact that it's not a very dense piece of bone, your shoulder socket. So I've actually fractured the piece that sits over the top of your shoulder bone, the socket part. So the bone has come up and smashed it, like fractured it, taken bits out of it and cracked the rest. So for that to heal with holding an arm up is going to be really tricky, in addition to the labrum, which is kind of like this fleshy bit that sits inside of that socket, and the capsules that have ruptured inside of there as well. So that's quite a precarious situation to be in. She said that because of how and when the injury occurred and what I did afterwards, which is walk home and what have you, potentially I've tricked my body into managing that level of pain as a lot lower level of pain than what it should be. As she was inspecting my dressings, of which you can't quite see, they get removed. Here you go. There's one and there's more at the back. You can see all the bruising coming through. She was doing some massage around my traps and things, and she was like, for instance, most people would be squealing while I was doing this, and you haven't skipped a beat. Your tone has not changed. So potentially you've kind of tricked your body into this level of pain as being normal. At some stage that will drop back and you'll start to feel it. Shortly after leaving that appointment, I started to feel it. I am managing the pain. I've got my post-surgery appointment with the surgeon next week, where they will remove the dressings, they will check it all out, they will reassess my physio, which at the moment is literally shrugging my shoulders. Look at me go. Moving my elbow in the sling arm, and my hand to make sure that my joints don't freeze up too much. But that's it, and that's pretty much what it's going to look like for 6 weeks. So I have tried to do some things, because I have one hand that works and the rest of my body, but everything's connected. And so I've had some mental challenges around feeling productive, feeling like I was doing some things, and then finding that I was a bit sore, and then really worried that I'd damaged myself. So I'm really kind of struggling with that. Everywhere I look, there's things I could do. As you know, I'm in a new house. These are first world problems. I understand that. I've got gardening I want to do. I've got things I want to do around the house, like even just doing the washing, emptying the dishwasher. It's really tricky, the angles that I've got to put myself in and how long things take. Showering, I said before, I'm getting my hair done at the hairdresser's. It looks good for a couple of days, then I look like I'm some homeless soul. The dry shampoo is getting a good workout. But the things that are keeping me happy is all of the beautiful messages that I am receiving from you guys, and a lot of people knowing that, you know, you must be getting overwhelmed with how's things going. But I just want to let you know I'm thinking of you, which is really lovely. Gifts, flowers, food, hampers. Like, it's very, very lovely. It really is. And Mr. Addiction is juggling so much. He's juggling a lot. He is. And look, I'm not the lowest maintenance girly on the block. He has been cooking normally, you know, he will tend the Barbie, but he has been doing the veggies and making me salads, you know, making me a coffee and some toast in the morning so I can have my painkillers, not on an empty stomach. Funny story. I've been looking for dresses. I've got 3 weddings this year, and I picked up this beautiful dress, and I bought it in 2 sizes to see how I might, which one might fit me best, but I can't do it. I can't put it on by myself. And so after he'd had a massive day working and then cooking and then cleaning up, I'm like, can you please help me put this dress on so I can see if it fits or which one I send back. Anyway, that was a bit of fun and a bit hilarious. But yeah, certainly now, even if I can do lots of online shopping, I can't, it's very hard for me to try things on. So I have to declare all purchases, which is painful. I did attempt to do some stories on Instagram recently with some things I'd bought for the house, some bedding and things like that. Epic fail, need to learn how to do Instagram stories better. But I hope to be able to figure out how to do some more like little kind of vloggy things, if not for your entertainment, just to keep me entertained. If nobody watches them, at least I filled in some time doing something. So that's where I'm at the moment. Today I am getting picked up by Nadia and we are going to grab lunch somewhere. Hashtag fork food. As long as I can eat it with a fork, it's good. It's good to go. And I caught the bus by myself yesterday to go and get my hair done. So, you know, things that would normally just be really quick, hop in the car, head down, I now have to really meticulously plan. So having one thing to do per day kind of is what I base my day around. So, still struggling with the asking for help thing, still feeling very frustrated and humbled by the fact that there's not a lot I can do independently. On the plus side, I'm rotting my brain with fabulous reality TV, including Below Deck Australia. Maths, if you're not watching Maths Australia, what are you doing? Survivor's just started. Yeah, so that's kind of how I'm feeling my days. Yeah, that's the update. I've been babbling on for 25 minutes. How narky of me. If you're still here, you know, put what should you put? Put a violin emoji. Put a violin emoji in the comment section down below. If there's any questions you've got, pop them in the comment section down below. It's hard for me to write back to comments, but I do read them and heart them. And if there's anything that kind of comes out of those comments that I could make a video out of, I will do that too. But in the meantime, I'll stop talking about myself and my recovery, and I will get back to my luxury content. I've got some cool videos in the plans. So yeah, I hope to see you back for those. And until then, ciao.